you don't have a father. If you're married, you have to have the approval from your husband. So basically, your husband has to sign a paper that gives you the permission to leave the country. And let's say your husband said you can't keep the kid. Until that kid is 18 years old, you have no right over that kid. Basically, if you want to leave the country, the kid cannot leave the country unless the father approves it and give the permission. If you're a woman in Iran, you can never become a judge, because they say women decide with their emotions, so they cannot be a good judge. If you're a woman and you walk into your home and you see your husband with another woman and you get mad and you kill them, you will be hanged. But if you're a man, you walked in a room and get your husband with another man, you can kill both of them and nothing's gonna happen to you. In Iran, you will be hanged if you kill someone. That's the punishment. But if you're a woman and you kill someone and your punishment is hanging, but you are virgin, they will first rape you before they hang you. I know that you can't even put this in your imagination, but that is true. Because in Islam, you cannot hang a virgin woman. In Iran, if a woman does not want to sleep with the husband and have sex, and the husband basically force you and kind of rape you, actually it does not count as a rape. So your husband can basically force you to have sex and there is nothing that you can do about it. In Iran, a woman cannot sing. No man can hear your voice singing. In Iran, if you're a woman and you get raped, do you know what's the first thing that they ask you? What did you do that they raped you? As a woman in Iran, we get sexually assaulted every day. Me, myself, I've been in Iran for 27 years. I've been sexually assaulted every day. Not by raping, but you walking in the street, they will touch your butt. They will touch you. They will say nasty things in your ear. You're not safe anywhere. You sit in taxi, a man next to you, they will touch you. There is nothing you can do really about it. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of choosing your sexuality, forget about it. You want to be a bisexual, you want to be gay, you want to be lesbian in Iran, forget about it. You can be, but there's going to be consequences for that, and you better not be caught. And this was just a very, very small amount of the things that's going on in Iran against women. So next time that any person that lives in Europe and in America and they want to support Iran's government, just think about all this, and shame on you if you do.
Yeah, that's true oppression. Like, that's real oppression for women. And I know that like it's different, like she was talking about in Islam, like what they believe, you know. And so in like a Christian nation, the husband, it talks about in the Bible that if you're cruel to your wife, you know, God won't hear your prayers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm framing it, I'm paraphrasing it, but it's both sacrificial on each end. So where this is like true oppression, and I really genuinely think women don't understand how good we have it. And yeah, that's just my opinion on that. So
Yeah,
couple things. Go ahead.
yeah, I saw a lot of, black women comparing their lives in America to women in Iran, and not really understanding that. Going back to the previous conversation where you were talking about, like, if all men decided to round, like, no more rights for nobody, that's what it would sound like. That's what it would look like. So it is by grace, that men decide, hey, we want to function in society, and we know we need women, and women have to have a lane to be in. And like countries in like Iran are not going to have feminism. They're not going to have a woman's day. They're not going to have any of these things that are centered around women in general, So when we start talking about like the room that men create so women can even deal with their problems, like even coming back to like the no contact piece. What I started looking at was women are in such conflict with the reality that they want from the reality that actually exists, and their perceptions of their relationships with other people, and to include their mother, is it's all being thrown, women being thrown against each other, to the point where like going no contact now has opened up the dialogue of, are women now understanding why most men that have left their relationships, now they understand why their fathers left? Do you think that that is part of it too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we even look at what mothers are doing, single mother households are doing, and create what they're creating. We look at, most rapists, which is crazy, right? Most rapists in prisons have come from a single mother household. And I truly believe, and I saw this video, that single mothers are the real threat to the children, because it's by the stepfathers that abuse the kids. So it's the
Yep.
men that the women are choosing that aren't the father that are abusing the kids. So who's really at the threat is the mother alone with the kids, because not only that, but just even her own emotions. If she's in pain, like women struggle to suffer. I'm not talking about physical suffering and pain and labor, right? I'm talking about suffering mentally. They struggle a lot more with their emotions, handling that. And so it bleeds and it pours on to the kids. They get overstimulated quickly. I've watched fathers where the kids can be running around screaming and they're just sitting there watching the game as if nothing's happening, probably because you know what I'm saying? Probably because they're used to dealing with women. So children, toddlers are no different to them, right? Yeah, no, I said this. I said this, like, I'm around children now, like my niece and my best friend has a child and they're toddlers. And I said, toddlers are women for men. It's
Yep.
toddlers are for women, the nagging wife for men. That's
Yep.
all. Like, it's just a toddler, no, mommy, and they get overstimulated. I don't, this is so much. How do you think your man feel? Like when you, some women don't grow. I actually was observing the toddler. I'm like, some women actually still behave like this to this day, where they will literally have a full meltdown on the floor, crying, kicking, and screaming like a toddler when they feel like overstimulated or emotional, or you're about to leave them. Like the same thing I watch a toddler do. So it's almost like there was no growth from that stage into your adulthood. You stayed there, where men, like, that wasn't allowed. When you fell and you threw a fit and you got a whooping by your dad, or even a whooping by your mom, like, you're a boy, like, wipe your tears. Almost the girls need to hear that too. Like, what is you crying for? Like, you're good. Get up,
Mhm.
So I definitely think that women are starting to, with the no contact. I mean, I don't know the self-awareness if they're actually observing, like, dang, I'm like my mother and I'm doing that to my relationship and my man. I don't know if women have that level of self-awareness. I will say, like, I did for sure. I was like, stuff was like opening up my eyes, but sometimes narcissistic parents raise up narcissistic children. And so you're only going to think about you. You're not going to think about how you're affecting other people. That's what your parents doing. And so then they train you to think the same way, because you have to think about you so much, because they don't care about you. They care about them.
Yep.
So it leads on to the child, and now you're an adult. And so when you're in a relationship, you're still going to function that way. You're going to be functioning like, I'm still doing what's best for me. And I don't think people are still realizing the impact that has now on the next person. Right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. There's a lot of alienation that takes place, and I'm watching it between the women, because the mother sometimes in most cases is the first bully
mm-hmm.
that a woman experiences as a child. They don't even get a chance to go get bullied um, by their peers, but it really just opens them up and makes them more susceptible to being bullied, because the desire to please the mother goes into the people pleasing behavior that they experience amongst their peer groups. So when you take a bunch of girls that have all been in the same type of experience with the same type of mother, and when they go to school with each other, how does that look? And the way that you just described a toddler, you know what I'm saying, observing that is the same behavior over and over and over again. You know, it never takes a moment off, it never takes a break, and it just keeps getting replicated into, you know, relationships that are toxic with other women, because it's the same familiarity. So if, like, for instance, if you had a mother that didn't, if you can simulate a mother and a daughter situation where the child is unheard by the mother and bullied by the mother, then that daughter never has self-confidence, because the very image of who she is bullying her. Then she takes that into regular interactions with other women, because most women are going to be in proximity with other women, and from girls all the way up until they make some kind of separation and become a wife or something like that. And then if they never trusted their mother, the likelihood of them trusting other women is out the door too, because the representation of a woman that you're supposed to trust doesn't like you. So you go through life with these expanded self-confidence issues, and I can literally see it, and a lot of men can smell it on you. You know, they can smell when you have a confidence issue and know where it comes from a lot of unhealthy competition, and that begins in the household, because it's a lot of women that have been bullied by their mothers based on nothing but their appearance. I've seen that firsthand. You know, like don't you want to make yourself look prettier? I've seen mothers tell their daughters that, you know, and how that trickles into the self-confidence issue, and how the women are competing with each other in unhealthy ways on social media. It's hard not to pay attention to at this point. It needs to be studied. So, and so that's when I started looking at it macro, like, okay, if these women are replicating the same type of torture, psychological torture, that they experience with their mothers online with other women that they don't even know, where's the source of this? Why would a person perceive the other woman's interaction with them as some negative interaction? Why do they even approach it with at a deficit already, not even assuming the best? They come into it with the worst mentality already. You know
why though is you had to be a chameleon, because when you're dealing with a mother who will withdraw their love, or just emotional, just their love, I'll just say love, right? When they will withdraw from you like that, or stonewall you and stuff, whenever they disapproved of you growing up, and usually the disapproval will even be like image, or if they don't feel loved by you, if you're a teenager or you're a young child and you're not even giving them love or fulfillment or whatever, and you're just trying to be more independent and explore your own things, but they feel like their identity is wrapped up in being a mom, or wrapped up in you loving me, because you also owe me, because I kept you, even though your father didn't want me, I kept you and I have you, so you have to pay me back for what I've done, right?
That's crazy.
This causes the child to then grow up having to be a chameleon, where they're hyper vigilant, always observing other people if they have approved of them or not. And because you have a lack of understanding of yourself now and who you are, because your parent never gave you the space of independency to figure that out, that you only could be what they wanted you to be, you are now moving out of one. If I'm in a relationship with a female, I have a friendship with a female, and she doesn't approve of something, I could see that she's withdrawing from me and she's trying to take her love away from me. I either get really offended and defensive because it's reminding me of my childhood and when my mother did that, or okay, what did I do wrong and how can I be a chameleon so that I'm fake? And I'm doing a lot of people pleasing behaviors to mold into whatever they want. And this is where it's very confusing because some girls, what they'll do is they'll say, you treated it like I was your man, like you needed me to always fulfill all your emotional needs. And I think that when you were starved all the time in your relationship with your mother, you get into relationships with these friendships that may start filling up these holes where you feel loved in them, and you're going to constantly want that validation from them because you were starved as a child. So I think there's a lot of elements, and I'm just kind of just shooting ideas, but yeah,
No, you're
rough.
cooking. No, you're cooking. Like the ability to see that and dissect it in like in a minute or two is because it happens so frequently, and it's been studied like internally by the women that have healed from it. Like even my wife just came up and she said she's talking about Estina. She so
Someone asked, what is a mother's love? Is it unconditional on my live
mhm.
too? And
It's very very
Go
conditional in my opinion. It's very conditional in my opinion. But go ahead.
I actually this was the conversation I was having with the guy I did a live with before, is that men's love is more unconditional. It's going to be unconditional because they didn't have the child, like they didn't give birth. So they always are constantly building the relationship. Like from the moment they're born, they have to build.
That was great. No,
Right?
that was great because the psychological bond is what we have to, like, women have to create the space for the psychological bond to exist between the man and the woman and the child, because you already carry the child.
Mm-hmm.
You got a leg up, you got an advantage. My wife has a theory on this that she talked to me about. She put me on game all the time on some things about what men do not understand about women, because I think the greatest miseducation is us being miseducated about each other. So because if you can circulate, think about it, right? Racism, anything that ends in an ism, is usually rooted in negative projection without any proximity to the actual ism, meaning like
Yeah.
if you're racist, right? How many people of the ethnicity that you can't stand are you actually around? Or are you just dealing with their tenets, their doctrine? And so you don't like the doctrine, so now I don't like you because you follow this doctrine, right? Well, it's the same thing. If you're not around healthy men, then you're going to be risk averse to them. And then you're being risk averse because you're not around them. You're going to develop an unhealthy insecurity about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like horses and zebras. I like saying that because they look similar in phenotype. They're somewhat related, but they're not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go get the book. And most importantly, I will see you beyond the algorithm, because that's where life actually happens.